Welcome back to another video. What do we have here today? Today we have a 2010 Volkswagen Touareg, and what she is I wouldn't say a crank, no start. She's a one that came in from another garage, but what happened to it is it was driving and it broke down, I was told, or stopped on the road. When it stopped on the road, then when we went to the other garage, they went in and they done a bit of a look at it, and what happened was they found metal shavings in the injectors and coming from the high pressure pump. So what they done then is they sent off the injectors to be tested, and the injector diesel engineers said that the actual injectors were gone and needed to be refurbed or replaced or whatever it may be. So they got them done, 6 injectors, 6 cylinder V6, and they got a new, roughly, you can see it in there, a new high pressure pump fitted in there. You can see a new water pump in there, maybe that was renewed at the same time, time belt and tensioner. After they put it back together, lo and behold, I don't know if it did run beforehand or didn't run beforehand, but at this point in time anyway, it starts, okay? I'll show you where we're at. And the battery's actually quite flat in this, so hopefully it might just start. Come on, baby. Actually, no, I think I have something disconnected, and I do, my bad. DVR. I'm actually doing a little bit of pulling and dragging and just making sure that I have my bits and pieces on. Sorry. Okay, hopefully the battery's good enough for this. Okay, so she starts and she runs, but that is as good as it will do. If I press the throttle, she will just kick her heels and stop. I'm going to do it slow. Now you can see it there. The minute I touch the throttle, she goes to cut out. So I'm not going to make it cut out, but I'll show you where we're at and what exactly is happening to this thing. This bank is contributing, but this bank is not. So if I was standing here and I took off, if I popped off an injector, or we can do the other one if you want to. Come on. Can't get it with one hand. No, I can't get the last one. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so we have all 3 injectors. We're going on that bank. 1, 2. You can see the third one there. 3 injectors disconnected. The only fault codes we have are DPF soot accumulation and the P2002, which is diesel particle trap efficiency fault, okay? So, no fault codes, no direction to go on, but yet 3 cylinders not contributing. Am I going to turn this thing off again just to talk? I think I will. So there she's off again. Okay, what we have and we know and we're aware of is that these 3 cylinders are not contributing at all. These 3 cylinders are. It's running on all 3. If you put off any injector, plug or block connector off it, it drops out on a cylinder there and it stalls out. It won't run good nor bad nor different. Now the other garage, I believe, were blaming, maybe was it an intake runner motor. They jammed open the runner flaps so to make sure it was getting in air. I believe they done some kind of looking at the exhaust system to make sure that the exhaust on this side wasn't blocked and we had flow. We're going to do a relative compression check at this point in time. Cranking amps, basically how much amps or amperage the starter is taking in order to check and see what how much amp each cylinder is drawing. So rise on the amps. Oh, on the compression strokes, we should have 6 of them. We're going to get a reference. What the reference is going to be, I'm potentially thinking is we'll maybe pick an injector. So if we have an injector firing on some cylinder, when we have the injector firing, that's going to be 360 degrees, and every 360 degrees the injector is going to be firing. We're going to have 6 humps in between these each injector control. Okay, that's basically what we're chasing after at this point in time, just to see where we're going to go. My gut feeling is that there's a timing chain after jumping on them. They're kind of complicated timing chain on it. There's a big chain on the bottom, and then there's two chains high up on the V for each bank. Okay, there's no cam sensor on that bank, but there is a cam sensor. Can we see it? There's a cam sensor that actually lives, just in there. It's kind of blurry. Yeah, you can see it a bit better there. Cam sensor on this right-hand bank and none on that bank, so the car won't know or doesn't see that it's after losing something on this side. I think we'll do a relative compression check and we'll go from there, okay? What we have done here is we've just synced with that injector. So that red trace is that injector firing, and there's that injector firing again. That's going to be 360 degrees later, and we have only 3 peaks within that 360 degrees of rotation. So because of that, what we're saying is that we have 3 cylinders here giving us compression, 3 cylinders here not giving us compression. I might pull out the 3 injectors there and just see if I can see more evidence with a borescope in cylinder or something like that, but we definitely have no compression on the left bank in this yoke anyway. Do a bit more digging and try and see. Okay guys, this Volkswagen Touareg, we have the engine and gearbox out on the ground with an empty hole sitting up there. I didn't do the taking out of it, but Alan from Diagnostics over there, who's crying out mad looking for a few subscribers, lads, if any run over. DEISE Diagnostics, DIAGNOSTIC. Anyway, neither here. Alan, who works here, pulled out that engine and gearbox out on the ground. Now, what am I going to show? We now have to prove there's a huge gearbox on it. I don't think it was an easy thing to take out, if the truth be told, but my task right now is to figure out about this timing chain on the back. What am I going to do? I'm going to prove that we're right first, I suppose. I'm going to pull off this bit of an intake manifold here, whatever you call it, just to show as well. Cam sensor, we only have 1 cam sensor on the left-hand bank, okay? On the right-hand bank, we have no cam sensor. So, in theory, mechanical failure, and the actual car or the ECU wouldn't know that there's anything wrong over here, hence no fault codes to do with timing or cam crank correlation or any of that crack. What we're going to do, as I said there, pull off this. I'm going to pull off my 6 injectors, my 2 rocker covers, and hopefully prove to myself that we have something amiss here before I go along, pull off the gearbox and try and get into this timing chain. Okay, that's where we're at. So get that off it, that off it, that off it, and the other one on the opposite off it with the 3 injectors taken up out of a 2, and hopefully we'll see something amiss and be able to get this. Okay, I've pulled out 6 injectors. The intake manifold is up off it. What I am noticing is that when I'm turning the engine, to get the injectors, get rid of compression so I can rotate it. When I'm turning the engine, I'm getting tight spots. So there's 8 little silly little bolts in there, and I'm rotating from there. I should have no resistance, but I'm getting little tight spots where I'm turning, and I actually kind of just blob the mark on. So I have a little mark there, mark there, mark there, and then it kind of coincided with this little mark here, which I don't know if that's, we nearly have like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, roughly, but it's kind of snagging at this point in time now again. But anyway, I looked in, it's on top of the center on, I don't even know what cylinder it is, the middle cylinder on the left bank. But I sent in a borescope just to have a look in a different hole. So we're actually in the first one here. I think it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. Cylinder identification. If you look in there, look, this is my camera gone in. Can you see the nice little indentation mark around there? So on the opposite side, it's my light, sorry. On the opposite side, I don't have any hit mark around here, but I have around here. Now I actually must rotate my camera and just see, is that those or those? What I'm seeing as well is that it looks like it's sitting fairly flat on it. So it looks to be a nice, flat, what would we call it? Mark of the valve hitting off the top of the piston. So I'm hoping that generally when a valve hits a piston dead straight on, it doesn't bend valves. It usually breaks rockers or some of that kind of stuff. We're going to try and do maybe, I think I have enough proof here to say that we're gone. So I'm thinking we're going to pull off the gearbox, strip the back, and then see where we're going. I'm going to state as well, I don't have a timetail for this time, so I haven't a clue whether I can pull it off without it or what, but you know my crazy stuff where I'll chance and try and stuff. Yeah, look, generally when it works out, not telling you to do it, just telling you this is what I do. So hopefully I won't need it. Hopefully I can roll on and just get it all snapped back together. But yeah, that's it. I think that's enough proof for me anyway. I'll show you the tight spot and go back anti-clockwise. Yeah, I can see the piston moving up there. Okay, we're going clockwise. And just when I'm turning, again, just there's a tight spot just there. So that's where I was at 12 o'clock. And then when I get over it, I get another one there. But what I am seeing is that if we were to look at the lobes of the intake camshaft, they're kind of a little bit not parallel with each other. So I'm not thinking that lobe's twisted. What I'm thinking is we could have one valve tipping off piston on top of the center, and then a little segment on, we're feeling the push of the other valve trying to press up against it. Okay, so I don't think there's anything much wrong here. I'm hoping I didn't do damage to valves, and we're going to get this thing pulled apart and start ripping off our stuff back here and see where we go. Okay, we're on the way in. Gearbox, torque converter off. Starting to get a few bolts out of a flywheel to get in. The bolts for the torque converter are right in behind the starter, which is relatively easy to do here, but I would say that we pretty awkward job while in there, because with a bolt in the engine mount and had to come out in order for a bolt to come out the top of the starter. And then once that came out, I could get in at my bolts. You can't really see it in that little slot. Yeah, but anyway, that's it. We're carrying on. Exhaust actually system front on the ground beside the dog. That's it. We're driving on. Get off this thing and hopefully we'll start taking off another couple of little bits and pieces and see where I end up. I don't know, do I have to take off my turbo as of yet, or can I just take off maybe this neck off the bottom of it so I can not go at oil feeds and returns. We'll have to get a couple of bolts out of here, a couple of bolts out of there, a couple of bolts out of there, a couple of bolts out of there. Yeah, we're starting to get in and have a look and see. I've pulled off my turbo, sitting up there. What was the interesting little bit is I couldn't see a joining in the oil return. The oil feed is handy, the rest of the bolts were easy. One in there, one in there, one in there. But the oil feed pipe splits there, so it only pushes on, which you don't have to unbolt anything. Sorry, the oil return, you don't have to unbolt anything, which is nice. Once the bolts came out and I had the pipes off it, she just wiggled and woggled and came up and then sat down here, okay? So the turbo's off, a couple of bolts, two down here, one in there, oil feed pipe, two EGR pipe bolts, but that's it. Okay, I have ranking bolts out all the way around. Top covers are actually starting to come loose, and you can't see it really there. So you can see it there maybe. So I think it's maybe time to go in, have a look and just see what we're up against. I'll continue and I'll pop them off. See, pop off. I'll pop them off both sides and try and see what we can see. What I'm also going to show, which is kind of a little bit harem scarem, not harem scarem, but we have a camshaft here and a camshaft here, but there's little slots in them for the head bolts to come out, okay? When we roll around to the other side, not a million, I have to turn it a little bit more, but you can see that these ones are not sitting in the right place. So is it timing chain is after jumping, or is something after twisting here in the camshaft? I can see that this camshaft looks different. It's kind of like an aftermarket one or something like that, but then it's kind of strange. I don't rightly know what's happening in here. I have to verify that this stuff and this crack is right before we go just after or on our timing chains. We are renewing the timing chain anyway, that's what I was implied to do. But is there more variables here than just a chain? Do we have something in here that's not right? What I'm suggesting is we'll get in here, look at our time marks and stuff, and then we have to verify where we're here before I renew anything, just to see. I wanted to prove that that was going to be wrong, but I think that we could maybe be looking at something here with camshafts, something at the twisting. I saw this on a 2-litre diesel Passat one time, where the actual whole, not lobes, but the whole camshaft twisted out of time, and no matter what you done from interference, actually, not level belt went up underneath the time belt, and time belt jumped teeth, and lo and behold, when an interference between piston and valves happened, it actually twisted, or the resistance rotated something, but it's something funny going on here. I'm going to try and identify what the heck is going on and then move from there. Okay guys, here's where we're at on this thing. Okay, on Autodata, it's giving us that little marker with nothing to reference up against as kind of a ballpark of where top dead center is, okay? I put 3 other little marks on it, But that's a rough ballpark of where top dead center is. When I come around here onto our good bank on the left-hand side, you can see, and I've seen this, as I said before, where that slot is cut out is for bolts of the camshaft. You can see it again there. So the roundy shank is tapered away here, here, and they're lining up. So we can get in at those bolts now in that position when our pin markers, I don't know if you can see the hole inside where they line up. That's the camshaft locking pin, and then there's a camshaft locking pin over here. Okay, what I have done is I've taken the cover off our timing chain here, and to be honest with you, it looks very good. It nearly looks new, which is deceiving. It's spotless clean in there. And what's to see? I have seen seal around there, but I thought someone was in here before, but maybe a long time before me. If I go in and look at that camshaft, as I stated already, these camshafts are a little bit more rusty than these ones. Now, if you look at the little slot for the actual bolts, head bolts here, the slot is relatively right there. Had I a screwdriver? I had a screwdriver there already. The slot is relatively right there, but the top one, sorry, the intake cam is not. Now, what doesn't add up to me, good nor bad nor indifferent, I'm just going to sit that up on that. It kind of sits into the slot somewhere there. So we should be at 90 degrees, but we're not at 90 degrees. You can see the screwdriver should be like there to the head, but it's not. So that camshaft is relatively lined up, but not right. This camshaft is off kilter altogether. We're on top dead center on the back piston over here and middle piston over here. So if we sit in that screwdriver, and that's the one I was using for TDC, I'm in top dead center in there. The screwdriver will get swallowed up in the other ones. Same thing in here. But it's on top dead center in here. Now, I've done these little marks on it. The marks are basically when I turn the engine clockwise, this camshaft rotates anti-clockwise, and this camshaft, the intake, rotates clockwise. Now, what's really off kilter or throwing me off kind of is I had valve to piston marks on the pistons in underneath the exhaust camshaft. But yet at this point in time, they're not hitting. I do feel some kind of slight resistance, but I don't know if that's just the cams opening or what. I don't think so, but I thought I could feel something hitting, but I can see nothing hitting now. So I'm bringing the top to the center. I'm opening valves in here, and there is a little bit of movement in with a screwdriver, so they are opening. But for definite, that camshaft is in the wrong place. The other one is on the power stroke. Two lobes of the camshafts are sticking up the way, even rotating the same way, one clockwise, one anti-clockwise. But over here, that camshaft is a million miles off. Not only because of this little cutout that's in it, that I can feel in at the back. It's hard actually to see it, but it is in there. Those lobes should be just coming off. Let's see now. No, just actually heading onto that actual rocker down there. So you can see that is in the wrong place. What doesn't make sense to me, good, bad or indifferent, is because the chain is good, and if a gear left go or slipped, which I have seen on 2-litre diesel Passats, as I said before, if that happened, it's pretty coincidental that this thing ended up roughly in the right place. But by the looks of it now, it looks like that had failed previously for some reason, and then someone has replaced that and is an aftermarket one that's not quite as good. It just doesn't make sense to me. So we have crank driving the chain driving that camshaft then driving that camshaft. I had at some stage valve to piston interference here on these 3 cylinders, but right now my timing is out of whack altogether on that camshaft, and it's a very hard one because this is just a link in a chain. And if that link in the middle of the chain broke, everything else behind it should have just gone kibosh. But right now it's not a million miles off. Another little pointer, I suppose, if you look in here, there's a little tabs in here, and the bottom of that tab is lining up with the base of the head. If we come over here, we're just at the other side of it, so that camshaft is only about that much off. It's only about 5 mil or so of thing in here off, but that camshaft has rotated or done something. Now, the only thing, I'm going to put in a picture. I was looking up bits on eBay, etc. When I'm looking up bits on eBay, I'm looking at the camshaft there, and this camshaft has two of these slots.
Alan is saying to me, "But sure, someone must have assembled this wonky and it never ran." I don't believe anyone's in here before me, except for someone did put a new pump on it and 6 new injectors, that I know of. But I don't know. This is just, it's the strangest thing. I have seen these move, but I just, did the camshaft slip, have valve to piston interference, and then valve to piston interference make it slip a bit more and rotate away from us now having valve to piston interference on rotation? I don't know. I just can't get it. I can't get it at all. I actually can't make the story. It's not about what's wrong here. It's about the lead up to it and what caused it. I'm going to start disassembling. I'm going to take off maybe this top timing chain. I'm not going to take off the rest of them. I don't really think they're needed. And I'm going to take off the cam box, and I'm going to try and see what the heck is going on here. You can see another little slot inside that hole, and I don't know. It couldn't be anyone. I don't know what the heck's going on. I haven't a clue.